Today I'm showing you 10 of the best projects that you can build with an Arduino right now. If you've been stuck for ideas, this is the video for you. Just to be clear, these are projects that I've found from around the internet, not my own builds. So I'll be crediting the original creator each time and breaking down exactly what the project does and how it actually works. First up, we have a clock. Not just any clock though, this tells the time by actually drawing it, just using an Arduino Uno, 3 servos and a dry wipe pen. It works like a tiny drawing machine, sketching out the current time every minute, and then it can attach itself to a dry wipe, use that to clear the writing, and then start again. Next we have the useless machine. Now, I'd be truly surprised if you told me that you'd never heard of the useless machine before. Whether it's the original video you saw on YouTube, or maybe the Lego version, or even a replica in a shop, I feel like this project probably has the broadest reach out of them all. If you don't know about it, however, it's a box that flicks a switch off. That's it. Essentially, you can go to flick the switch on and the box will always turn itself off again. Some of these have variations where the box has a bit more personality, but the requirements remain the same. And it truly is a perfect project for a microcontroller like the Arduino Uno, because simply it just needs to control a servo. Great, now we're on to project 3. This one is pretty crazy. Using an inkjet printer to print onto coffee. It uses an Arduino Uno, a scavenged scanner, and a printer that has been tricked into thinking it's still printing on paper. Instead of feeding sheets through like normal, the printer is mounted on drawer slides and wheels, which lets it move across the top of a mug or cup. The clever part is how it gets around the printer's paper sensors, without having to mess around with the firmware. A bit of cotton blocks the IR sensor, making the printer think there's paper loaded, while the Arduino reads the motor encoder signal to keep track of exactly where the print head is. The ink cartridges are then replaced with edible ink, so whatever the printer thinks it's putting onto the sheet of paper actually ends up as a little design on your coffee. As far as the printer is concerned, everything is completely normal. It just gets a print file and carries on doing its thing. The custom Arduino shield handles the sensor trickery and keeps everything moving along line by line. It's honestly a wonderfully ridiculous system, obviously more of a party trick than something you'd need in everyday life, but that's kind of what makes it so good. Okay, now it's time for project number 4. I'm not sure if I can even call it a project, it's basically a work of art. It's a fully working Arduino Uno, but there's one big difference. It was built without a circuit board. Everything is done with free-form soldering, brass wire, and a whole lot of patience. Instead of a PCB, every connection is made from carefully bent lengths of wire. That means you can actually see and follow the ATmega 328, the power regulators, and the USB circuitry in the open, rather than having everything hidden away beneath copper traces. And it actually works. The board boots up and can take code over USB just like a normal Arduino. The final challenge was protecting all of that exposed wiring, which is where the resin casting comes in. A 3D printed mold was filled with clear resin, and after taking 3 days to fully cure, it left the entire build suspended inside a solid, transparent block. It's a seriously impressive piece of work, and honestly my hat is off to anyone that attempts it. Okay, next on our list is a little project that might help you stay focused and complete your daily tasks. The main concept was having a system that was able to read a user's calendar and print out a daily to-do list. This is to prevent you from having to access your phone and inevitably getting distracted. The printing is done with a thermal receipt printer, which is relatively easy to set up and pretty readily available. Coming in at number 6 is a real head trip. This is a clock that tells the time using nothing but overlapping patterns, 4 stepper motors, a light box, and a bit of physics called the Moiré effect. Instead of numbers or hands, it uses pairs of printed layers. So when the 2 patterns line up, the digits appear, so the time only becomes readable once everything is in the right position. Each digit wheel works a little differently, which is part of what makes the design so interesting. The hours wheel stretches the shapes along one axis to reveal the digits, the minutes wheel uses a scanimation style effect, and the seconds wheel uses a spiral pattern that shifts as it rotates. The wheels can also correct their position without needing to be manually reset. Hall effect sensors, mounted behind the front plate, detect small magnets in each wheel, allowing the steppers to home themselves whenever the clock starts up or gets out of sync. The whole thing sits inside a custom built light box with RGB LED strips providing the backlighting. This makes the patterns stand out properly instead of looking like faint lines on a printed sheet. Once the wheels are aligned and homed, the steppers only need to rotate to the next digit. That's where micro stepping helps, giving the motors enough precision to stop in exactly the right place so the patterns form clear, readable shapes. It's seriously inventive and mesmerizing to look at. Okay, we're on to project number 7 now. It's another clock, not in the traditional sense though, although I don't suppose the last one was either. It tells time by lighting up words instead of numbers. Instead of hands or digits, this thing spells out the time across a grid of letters, with a vinyl sticker cut out on a plotter to mask only the words needed and leave the rest of the panel dark. Number 8 on our list isn't a clock, which I bet you're excited about. It's actually a simple musical instrument enabled with the Arduino. Although the real magic behind this setup isn't the microcontroller, it's actually the flick gesture board. This is perfect to add 3D tracking functionality and basically enables the instrument entirely, as you can produce musical notes by gesturing with your hands. And the last 2 are both clocks. We have a mechanical 7-segment display clock first, which is quite inventive considering it does everything manually. Each individual segment is controlled by its own servo motor, allowing them to flick to the side to hide their green 3D printed top. And finally, we've got a very inventive clock which repurposes an old hard disk drive. Now, I couldn't find the original video linked to this project, however there are a few HDD clocks floating about out there, so enjoy these videos in case you need to be inspired about its functionality.